Let's discuss various factors which determine the compensation and pay rates. Now, we can broadly classify them into two categories. One are the internal factors, another is external factors. So, the first internal factor is your organization strategy. Now, simple thing as whether it is merit or whether it is seniority. It is one of the examples of organization strategies that what is it that organization emphasizes more on. So this could be one major deciding factor regarding compensation and pay. Then ability to pay. Ability to pay is something related to the stature and the structure of the organization. If it is a large organization, it will be paying much more as compared to a smaller organization. Even if there is the same role, let's say a marketing executive in a large MNC might be getting much more than a person who is working in a local or a small domestic firm having doing a similar kind of role. So that is what ability to pay is. The relative worth of the job, how important is that job within the organization structure? So whether it is a support job, whether it is a line function, so that also makes it important within the consideration of what kind of compensation which will be given to that particular job in the organization. Employees' relative worth in what is the sort of skill set an employee brings it to the job, what is the kind of experience a person brings in, what is the skill and the competence a person brings in in that job. There could be a lot of incentive systems, there could be a lot of bonuses attached, so which can actually decide the compensation levels of an employee at a particular level. So that is what employees relative worth is all about. And of course the productivity, if there are many bonuses and incentives schemes within the organization which are totally directly related to the productivity of the company. So the more productive the organization is, the employees expect that sort of award or incentive to be given to them because they were part of that productivity. So this sort of productivity can also be linked to very effectively to various compensation and pay rates. So these are all the internal factor that of an organization. But then there are a lot of external factors also which impact the compensation and pay rates within an organization. First of all, of course, the demand and supply of labor. What is it that an organization requires as employees, basis their competence, basis their skills, what is the supply of that particular kind of labor? So which you will see that typical blue collared workers which do not require any kind of typical skills, they cannot demand a very high wage rate, whereas the moment any kind of skill is there, you will have to pay more. The reason is demand and supply. And other example, very simple example, could be the healthcare industry. If we go to a hospital and we consult a general physician who is, let's say, of having less than 5 years of experience, the kind of consultation rates would be less than if you go and consult a particular specialist. Why? Because first of all, he is a specialist, and secondly, that supply of that specialization, as far as those doctor, let's say if we talk of endocrinologist, if we talk of oncologist, so as compared to those specialists, general physicians are much higher in number. The supply is much higher than those specialists. So, and also if the more the experience a person is, so that sort of demand and supply of this labor, we will just categorize it labor openly. So this also impacts how much the person can demand as an employee and what is the value the employer is willing to pay. If it is more in supply, then definitely they can have that negotiation across around that particular thing. Cost of living, depending on metro cities and let's say rural area, you will find the same jobs can command more salaries or more kind of compensation in the metro areas. So a marketing executive in Delhi, Mumbai, or these kind of cities will definitely have a higher salary, or this is what is expected, because the cost of living in such cities is much higher if the same person is doing that similar kind of job in somewhere in the interior or rural areas. The economy, now every organization typically pays certain kind of incentive or increment during the financial year. This is a norm. But in year 2020, the if any company or any industry has given that sort of incentive or increment to their employees, it was making news. We all know the reason. So this is how the economy also impacts compensation and pay rates in a very major way. The government also is a major factor while determining compensation and pay rates, because at times there are certain laws which regulate this compensation and pay rates, right from the basic minimum wage to the overtime to the amenities to the rewards of CEOs and CXO level people. There are certain rules which manage that. So the government also has a say in compensation and pay rates when we are deciding about such things. And of course, the unions. Now, unions can, if they are strong, they can negotiate a better compensation. So if a union is there, typically in the service industry, these kind of unions and all are being discouraged by the employers because of the fact that they get together and then all those negotiations and this industrial relation, employee relation issues can come up. So if the unions are strong, we can expect higher pay rates as far as employees are concerned. If there is no such union existing, then whatever the employer is willing to pay, depending on the other demand and supply factors and economy and all that, it can be controlled, or it is in the power and hands of the employer, that what is it that the employer wants to pay to that particular level of labor, right? So these are the various factors which determine pay and compensation rates when we are deciding on those lines. Now let's focus on the managerial and professional jobs. So typically we are now going to consider the white collar jobs. How are they compensated? First of all, there is a certain base pay which is fixed, which is their let's say minimum kind of thing which a person should get for the particular service which he is going to give. Then there are certain short-term incentives, there are certain long-term incentives to retain that particular person for long. Short-term incentives serve to motivate the person to give his best of the abilities on that job. And of course, these kind of jobs also are having executive benefits and perks. So we had talked about the non-financial part of the compensation, if you remember, that is holidays, that is something to do with your club membership. So all these benefits and perks, etc., they are all part of compensating executives and managers. Now how it is done, what exactly goes into this executive pay? The CEO pay is set by board of directors, taking into account factors such as business strategy, corporate trends, and where they want to be in the short and the long term. Firms pay CEOs based on the complexity of their jobs. So, if these compensable factors, we had talked about working conditions, we had talked about skill, knowledge, responsibility. So, for a CEO, it is a really, I would say, they need to be really responsible because they are taking the whole risk of uh, company's growth. So, wherever the company is being led is because of the fact that the CEO is at the leader position out there. So his job become very, very crucial and also very complex because he's taking that risk on his shoulder. So boards are there, which are, so board means board of directors. They are reducing the relative importance of base salary while boosting the emphasis on variable pay. So for whatever purposes it's there, they do not focus much on the fixed salary part. That is relatively not that huge. But then the variable pay, that is CTC we talk about, which is cost to the company, that will include the fixed salary plus the variable salary. So that variable salary means it is linked to the productivity or the performance of the company, because the CEO is heading the company. So it is his or her responsibility to lead the company towards profit. More the profits, more is his share in that profit. So that is the variable pay. So basically, we are trying to make sure that the leader is ensuring the growth of the company for his own sake. Different type of variable pays are performance related, skill based, and competence related pay. As we had talked about factors determining the executive pay, the government was an external factor. The government can bring out various laws, and the Companies Act of 1956, there is a particular section which regulates the CEO's pay or the CXO level officials' pay as well. It says that the total managerial remuneration payable by a public limited company to its directors, secretaries, and treasurers and managers in a financial year shall not exceed 11% of the net profits of the company. Now, this particular act, Companies Act, was modified or amended in 2013, and they basically talked about, they clarified what how this net profits were to be calculated for this purpose of, it impacted this 11% as well. So this, again, this Companies Act is in a way applicable to public sector companies, public limited companies, all the public limited companies, uh, because it was felt in 2013 all across the globe that the CEO salaries are really being given in a huge amounts. So people were questioning what is the justification behind paying out such huge amount of salaries to the top officials. So this is how it was tried to regulate in India. But then again, there are a lot of other ways when this sort of these people at the top level or the managerial level are being compensated. Whatever, cash is nothing, not the only thing. There are so many other factors as well which go along with that particular rank. And when we say managers, it is typically we are talking of the managerial white collared top positions in the organization, right? These are the executives in the organization we are covering. Let me know if you have any queries. Stay tuned for more content.